Thank you very much. My name's Tom Porteous. I'm the UK Director of Human Rights Watch. Thank you for your speech, President Kagame. You just have been re-elected by 93% of the vote. I just wondered what plans you have over the coming years to use that mandate to expand political space in Rwanda so that future elections can take place in an atmosphere of genuine political competition and debate. Thank you.
Well, I would start maybe by continuing our dialogue with the Human Rights Watch, which has expertise in matters of freedoms and elections, and may have a lot to educate people about their freedoms. But I think the result of elections in Rwanda were more to actually due to exercising the freedoms by Rwandans rather than the lack of freedom to do that. As Human Rights Watch would want people to believe. But I also want to say we probably need freedom from Human Rights Watch. Because Human Rights Watch has become, when it comes to Rwanda, the matter becomes personal. Yes, I give example. I remember when they unfortunately lost one of their colleagues who used to work in Rwanda for many years, one called Alison Defoe. Somebody on CNN supposed to be, eulogizing this good person. Instead of talking about that, spent 3/4 of his time talking about me and Rwanda. So if you give us freedom, we will certainly be more free than maybe we have been. But Rwandans have no problems of freedom. They say it, and it is important that you respect them and respect their opinion as well.
Thank you. And the gentleman who stood up before, I'll try to sneak one more in, but the President does have a tight schedule, and so I'm partly in his hands and that of his party.
Oh, okay, fine. So Dr. Graham Bell's SRU London International Relations. I wonder if you can help me out with a question that my students have often asked me. What? And that is, if you could help me out with a question that my students have often asked me, and that is the division between the Tutsi and Hutu in Rwanda. Was that there all the time, or was it created by the Belgians as a divide and rule policy?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. As we read in history, for many years, Rwanda has been a nation state for centuries. We never had a problem called or relating or coming out of Rwanda having Hutus, Tutsis, Twas. No. There are no wars recorded. There is no conflict anywhere about it. So until the Belgians came. And by the way, on this, I also want to say in Rwanda, actually, we have one culture. These so-called ethnic groups, Hutus, Twas, Tutsis, have one culture. We have one language. We have one culture. We eat the same food. We live on the same villages. There have been, the marriages don't, they have no borders. So this is how it was for many years, until later on in 1930s, this issue developed when colonialists actually introduced even later on identity cards and singling out that this one is a Hutu, Tutsi, Twa, and therefore they would be treated differently, whether in terms of jobs or different opportunities. And it was simply created, made up. It did not exist. History says it. It's a fact that can be cross-checked. So, of course, we have suffered the consequence of that, and that's why we are working towards unity again. But even the colonialists tried to prove it scientifically, that these people are different, but they didn't come to anywhere to prove that actually these people genetically or otherwise were different. But what divided, let me quickly say what actually these differences are about. The Tutsis were said to be cultural keepers. The Hutus, they were tilling land, they were farmers and growing food, agriculture. The Twas were mainly specialized in making pottery, crafts. They are craftsmen and women. So the occupation is what differentiated them. And that was about it. But then later on it was politicized. And politicized so badly that even if they were anyway different, to the extent that they were different tribes or ethnic groups, why would there have been a mission to radicalize that and turn one against the other and say you are different, therefore you should hate each other? See, this is questionable. Let's even assume, let's work from a different perspective that actually these are different groups, tribes or ethnic, and so on. What is the purpose of wanting to say or teaching them that since they are different, they are also dangerous to each other or should be dangerous to each other? This is how now politics came in, and certainly a lot to blame on that past.
Mr. President, even more than 9 people now want to take the floor, so you've obviously excited a huge amount of interest in Rwanda and in the affairs of the region from your formal remarks. I apologize to those who haven't been able to ask a question, but I hope that you will all join me in thanking very warmly the President of Rwanda for his Oppenheimer lecture this year.